Hi, YouTube. How's it going today? Thank you so much for joining me for another Amway stream. I'm just getting the desk situated here. It was not planned. I did not plan this out very well. And now I'm like, did I do my sound? Did I do my sound settings? Which I'm going to do right now. Because when I'm working at home, I always get set up earlier in the day. And I always forget if I do my sound by the time I actually get there. Of course, my internet went bad. Sorry. So, yeah, I'm excited to be here today. And I was wondering, is anyone doing the NHL playoff pool bracket challenge thing? And I was looking and I got some points already in that bracket challenge, but I feel like Seattle versus Colorado could be a real like bracket buster for sure because Colorado is like brilliant team. Seattle is not as great, and Seattle is winning 3-2 now, and that's a little weird. But anyone else doing that? And how are you finding the NHL bracket challenge? So we already have some people in the comments. How fun! Hi, BB. Thank you for coming. Hi everyone, I'm out walking, so we'll be mostly just listening. That's awesome. Thank you for coming, Lisa. Hi, Monica. Thank you for being here. Hi, Live Panic. Hi, Gary. Thank you for coming. I gotta go. I gotta do some housework, but I'm procrastinating. You don't have to do the housework if you don't want to, or if you absolutely have to, you can just like put me on in the background. But thank you for joining. Yeah, so today I messed up my ordering of my screens. So I'm going to remove this one from my screen. So I wanted to do a video with top Amway distributor Paul Miller and his wife Leslie Miller. And if you watch my other videos on Amway distributors, we usually like talk about quickly who they are on the unofficial Amway wiki page, just so we have an understanding of their status in Amway, and then we go and we watch a video. The video we're going to watch is 39 minutes long, so I just wanted to watch part of it today. So we're going to read this page, and then we're going to watch 15 minutes of the Paul and Leslie Miller speech, and then on Sunday we can pick it up and watch the rest. There's hockey today, and there's like I want to go hang it with my husband, so I didn't want this video to be like a million years long. But yeah, I'm ready to get started. So the other times I've looked up this page, this is not affiliated with Amway, but it's a good page just to get some basic information about the people we're talking about today. So Paul Miller, he joined Amway in 1971, and he got to Pearl in 1977, Diamond in 1979, Double Diamond in 87, Triple in 92, Crown in 93, and started to get some FAA personal perks in 1999. So it took him like 20 years to start getting those prizes. And then here, so I don't know what LOA means, but they are the downline of Bill and Peggy Britt. Fortunately, Bill Britt had passed away many years ago, but he is one of the biggest distributors, I'd say second to Dexter Yeager. I like these videos because I feel like there's a lot of people who have knowledge of Amway, and even I think we watched a Bob Anderson video, and someone in the live actually knew of Bob and has seen him talk in person, and they had cool insights. So if you know anything about Paul and Leslie Miller, if you've seen them speak, if you know anything about them, let us know. If you want to, no pressure, but I'm always interested in learning more about these people from the viewers. Wow, that's a lot of years. Yeah, it took him. How long did it took him? When did he start? When did he start this? 1971. 1971. So it took him 8 years to get to Diamond in the 70s. Levels of achievement. Yeah, so these are like the ranks. And I used to know more. I used to know what FAA stands for. I don't know, unfortunately, but there are like different you get points for a certain amount of legs that hit certain ranks, and once you get to a certain amount of points, you get a prize, right? And in one of my old streams, we saw Dexter Gagger get like $3 million on the stage live because he hit the highest level of points. My nose is running. Bill Britt's organization. Yeah, so Brit Worldwide. Oh, so maybe LOA, like leadership organization or something? Because, yeah, Brit Worldwide is Bill Britt's, and then Mark is Paul's the Leadership Team Development Ltd. I get confused. There's so many. Okay, so we're going to read a bit of this, and then we'll watch the video. Paul and Leslie Miller are Crowns and North American Founders Council members affiliated with BWW from North Carolina. Together with his former wife, Debbie, Paul qualified Diamond in 1979, Double Diamond in 87, Triple in 92, and Crown in 93. They attended the first Diamond Club in the 1970s along with John and Jenny Bell Crow. In 1999, they also qualified for FAA Personal Perks. Paul and Debbie have since divorced and is now married to Leslie, his former secretary. Their upline diamond is Bill Britt. Paul is also a member of the IBOIA President's Cabinet. I do not know what this means. Oh, I think I've heard people talk in my chats. People talk about Paul Miller and leadership team development. I think I can't remember. Most is made with the tools. Correct, Mark. LOL, former secretary, right? Okay, are we ready? So I'm not sure if this was written by Paul himself. It kind of looks like it is, but I want to read it because it provides some interesting information. In May 1971, I attended my first meeting at Emerald Direct, Bill Britt's home in Corborough, North Carolina. At the meeting, I learned that the business, after 12 years, had almost 100 different products, was in 3 countries, and had accomplished sales of approximately 100 million. I signed up, talked to one person, and quit. The timing was just not right, so I had to finish up football, baseball career at UNC Tar Heel. Okay, this is not good writing. Okay, we'll skip that part. Okay, let's go down here because this is not like it's not a properly edited page, and so we don't need to read through all of the like bad writing, you know. Okay, we already saw Monica's comment. IBOIA is for the low person. What do you mean? What does that stand for, Mark? I feel like I knew it in the past, but now I don't know. On my way home, perfect timing. That's awesome. Thank you for joining, Hall. I really appreciate that. One day, I skeptically went to see a formal business presentation. I met some old friends of mine at the presentation. They were very excited about the business, but they couldn't explain how it worked. All they could explain was that the business had something to do with 100 PV, no door-to-door selling, and a possibility of making a lot of money. In fact, I attended 4 meetings in a free enterprise weekend before signing up in September 1974. I thought he had signed up in 71, but in the video, we'll see that he signed up and then he didn't do anything after for several years. The first two years were internal growth years. There were financial struggles, fears to overcome, bar exams to pass, strangers to meet, and products to sell. I knew that I needed to be steady, upbeat, and kind to all people, and I shouldn't quit. I'm glad I didn't quit. I became Pearl in 1970. Okay, we already read that. And he retired from his job in 1978. So he retired 7 years after starting and 4 years after taking the business seriously. Bill and Peggy were my good friends and advisors, friends in the business like the Renfros, the Crows, Zine. I don't know any of those people except for Per Year. I've seen Per Year before. We don't need to read that part. And so here are some of his downline people. There are going to be a few recognizable names in here that we've actually talked about. I've heard of Larry and Pam Winters, haven't done anything about them yet, but Doug and Amy Weir, we did a video with Doug in it. We did a video we did Rocky Covington. We did a whole video on Rocky. And there was one other one. There's one other one. Where is it? It was like Jake and Jackie Baker. We did a video on how to go platinum. It was with Jake Baker and Doug Weir. So there are some recognizable names in here, and you'll see some of them are affiliated with LTD. I'm pretty sure Leadership Team Development, and others BWW. Let's click it. Will it actually take me there? Yeah. Oh, I'm incorrect. Please let me stand corrected. Leadership Team Development is the professional development program formed by Larry and Pam Winters, not Paul Miller. So my apologies. The majority of the diamonds affiliated with LTD are in the Winters line of sponsorship, though several affiliated diamonds are actually downline from Paul Miller and Bill Britt. Prior to the formation of LTD, all groups were affiliated with Britt Worldwide. Okay, so Leadership Team Development, Larry and Pam Winters. Okay, let's go back and finish. I missed some comments here. Okay. IBOA videos on the tube. They say that they take care of the new person. Oh, interesting. Okay, I'll look into that. Thank you, Mark. Hi all, I'm late. Hi Charlie, we're doing an Amway video today. The level of grandiose description, right? Like the main gist of it is like he was skeptical, he joined and got rich, right? Happy Friday to you, Sherry. Thank you for joining. And then Monica says hi to Sherry. How fun. Thank you for joining, guys. Okay. I don't really want to read this whole thing. So let's read this part here. Paul credits the BWW support system for helping him overcome his early struggles as a business owner. That is Bill Britt's Amway Tool Scam Company. The business system created a roadmap that can be followed very easily. Whenever there were questions or challenges, I had business mentors right there to give advice based on their own experience. The kind of experience is invaluable, and now in turn, I'm able to advise people who are just getting their own business started. Anyone with hard work, willing to learn how to build it, can make this business work. And they also will credit Bill and Peggy Britt for the quality of their marriage and how amazing they are as parents. Why give my tool money to the big names? Yeah, for sure. And we've talked about the Skaggs lawsuit before. We've seen this, but we're going to read it again because Paul and Leslie Miller were involved in it too. In July 2007, a lawsuit was filed by International Business Solutions, Inc., a company operated by Emerald Henry and Sue Skaggs, naming Bill and Peggy Britt, Paul and Leslie Miller, Rocky Covington, we've talked about him, Kevin and Beth Bell, and Britt Worldwide as defendants. The suit alleges that the Skaggs, having developed a software system to allow for direct order fulfillment of something their downline, received approval from Britt to continue the development of the software program for eventual rollout to all of BWW. During this time, the Skaggs state that they carried the burden of the development costs. According to the lawsuit, in 2005, Britt rescinded the agreement. The Skaggs then claimed that they were de-edified by their upline. The suit alleges breach of contract, racketeering, and international interference with economic relations. That could be a whole video on its own. We don't need to go into huge detail, but it seems like the Skaggs developed a software for BWW and then they did not get their payment. So that's the main gist of that. And then, yeah, and so take this all with a grain of salt. Last time the page was modified was October 3rd, 2012. I don't know if I should even be using this as a source, but I'm like, it meets our needs right now. Like, we don't need to have a bunch of detailed information on it. Okay, I'm excited for this video. I think it'll be really good. I was really loud when I was listening to it before. Okay. Okay. I'm ready. Are we ready to rumble? Okay.
Founders, Crown Ambassadors, Paul and Leslie Miller! Man, you guys.
It's loud as fuck. I'm so sorry. And this is a tool scam event. It's interesting that BWW even puts these up on their YouTube page because usually these are like secret. And that's the one tool scam company that actually like puts their information, their videos on the internet, which is pretty interesting. Monica said, ready. Yes, they are treated like celebrities. You are correct, for sure. I already hate it. Same. We're only watching 15 minutes of this though, so we won't be here for like 10 years. No one outside of Amway knows them, correct. But they are celebrities. You are right.
Guys look good. How many guys are going diamond? Hey, man, it's good to see you guys. Bill's backstage. He's 26 pounds lighter than the last time you saw him. And how many guys are going to hear Bill Britt for the first time? Let me hear you holler. First time? All right. Well, I'm excited for you. I met Bill when I was 21 years old and I was single. And I was invited to his little house he lived in Carborough. Back then, was doing a total of 150 million, that's with an M, worldwide sales when I first saw this plan. And I went to...
Did Britt do 150 million in worldwide sales when you saw the plan, or do you mean Amway in general? Also, he's talking about Bill Britt's small home in Carborough, whatever it was. And I think it's just to show that, look, even Bill Britt had humble beginnings. We all have humble beginnings. We all have doubts. And if you just stick with it, you too can find the success that Bill and Peggy Britt had. The flower petals made me laugh, right? Yeah, I agree. It's pretty funny. How people don't see what a bunch of scammers they are. I think like people in Amway are taught to idolize the people at the top, and you'll see like not just their work in the business, but also their relationship with each other and how they parent. And I think they really try to replicate and become their upline. And we've seen this in my other Amway videos where I don't remember who it was, but it was one of the males talking about how like their downline members started to talk like them, started to dress like them, started to pick up all their mannerisms, because you have to become your upline in order to find success. And I wonder, why do we have to change everything about who we are in order to make some money in our business? That should be a huge red flag. How can you work so hard to give your hard-earned money to them if you make any at all? Fantastic point. Oh, a rowdy tool scam event. I like it, right? I wish I could see the video. Like, I wish I could actually see them talk and we could see how many people are there, but we can't.
To the meeting, and let's see, I went with 2 football players, and we sat on a folding chair, and I don't know what he showed that night. But I went back and ordered a kit. The kit came about 3 months later, and I basically signed up and then I quit. And for the next 3 years, when I was 22, 23, and up to 24 years old, I was telling people that it doesn't work. And I've met Bill Britt and been to his house. And I was in law school, so I was the worst thing you could ever see for this business. But I didn't know what I was talking about. I was trying to be cool and trying to be smart. And you're going to run into people like me, unfortunately. But smile, because maybe one day they'll get their heads screwed on right. By the time...
So he was a young guy. He was 21. I guess that was in 1971 when that website said that he joined. And he joined, got the kit, and then didn't do anything and then quit, although he stayed in the business. And we hear a lot about people who start in MLM businesses. They really are doubting themselves. They're doubting the benefit of and the value of the business. So they have their sign up date, but then their start date is something else. And that's just to make him more relatable. Like, look, Paul Miller, even he doubted, even he didn't jump in right away. And now look where he is. So it's okay that I'm doubting it. And I just need to get my head screwed on straight, just like he said. I love going to an event and acting like a jerk. Nice, Charlie. Waited 3 months for the kit. Yeah, 1970 something. I don't know if that's like normal for that time. Maybe mail was slower back then. But yeah, good point. I actually went to Trump Trump rally in 2015 because it was around the corner from my house. Crazy. Ooh, that's interesting. What was it like? I don't know how they do it. I'll be anxious if my paycheck is dependent on a downline, how their paycheck gets affected when people leave, right? I want my paycheck to be affected by me, by my work, no one else. Yes. But then they'll say that you are in control of your paycheck. You just need to help more people. But how are we in control of our paycheck if like people leave and our pay gets cut by half, right? Like we could be the most brilliant leader ever, but people are still going to leave. That's a great point.
I was 24, he had grown somehow to $250 million during those 3 years without me. But I came to Free Enterprise Day in September. The year was 1974. I'm 24 years old, and I sat on the very back row in the Charlotte Coliseum with my father. I was single. And I brought my dad to look at this thing to check people out like you, because he was really worried that his son, who was going to be a lawyer, was suddenly looking at this unconventional way of doing business. He knew nothing about it, but he wasn't excited about it. But here's what happened. He sat with me and he listened. At that time, it was 3 diamonds, and that was it, 7,000 people. I'm on the back row. I'm single. And my dad's sitting there with his arms folded, whether he was going to give the approval and the endorsement about this business.
So when I keep forgetting his name, Paul, when Paul was young, he went to this event with his dad as a single person. He says this a lot, as a single person with his father for his approval because he was in law school, ready to be a lawyer, and his dad wanted to see what was going on. And again, it's just makes it more relatable, right? Like, look, I was a young person. I barely had any life experience. And I brought my dad to like approve it, to give me his blessing. And I was able to get over my fears and just dive in and get it done and be successful. You know what I mean? We get it. You're single. Live panic. He's going to say it so many more times. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But that's a big point that he has. Like you say, you can't control people. They will leave if they want to. Correct. That's a great point. Skip meals, but buy expensive Amway products and tools. That is classic Amway. Yes, Leslie is going to talk about the kind of sacrifices that we have to make in order to be successful, and skipping meals, that is one of them. It's crazy, right?
And then my dad watched this little guy about this tall that was a beer truck driver that barely got out of high school. He had 7 kids living in the alleyway, driving a beer truck, dead broke. And he watched that man on stage that afternoon, a double diamond, not yet the founder's crown ambassador that we all know today. And he saw just a truck driver, just a beer truck driver with a high school degree. Then he saw Dr. Tom Paine, who was very eloquent the way he spoke. Then he saw Rick Setzer with a cowboy hat, twirling the microphone, yahoo, wearing cowboy boots on stage.
He's trying to show the variety of people that can find success in Amway. First, with the person who didn't even barely finish high school and is just a truck driver. Not everyone is good at school. Not everyone wants to go to school. Some people have issues in their life that makes it hard or impossible for them to graduate. It doesn't mean you're not intelligent. It doesn't mean you're not resourceful, adaptable. It doesn't mean that you can't be a good salesperson, because you can learn the skills and become a good salesperson. But we know that they're trying to focus on the fact that he doesn't have a lot of education to make it more relatable. That, look, this man didn't even finish high school, barely finish high school. This man is very financially vulnerable. And look, he was on stage at this Amway event in 1974. And then he's talking about, then there's a distinguished fancy doctor, and then there was a cowboy, and then all of these people, they're all completely different. No one fits into the mold of the successful Amway IBO, but they can all find success. And yes, here we go, the rags to riches story, sob story time. Yes, they all have sob stories. He was lucky he got in very early. Of course, he would be successful. Yes, yeah, I completely agree. He would have had an easier time in 1974 than I would now joining Amway. Lots of lying and schemers, so much bigotry related to the Trump rally. Awesome. Okay. Lock her up. Trump told the news that people were lined for blocks, but in reality, the place was only about 3/4 full. How interesting. Cool. I hope you were safe there. I hope there's no violence or anything, but I could see how that would be an interesting experience for sure. How brainwashed would you have to be skipping meals so you can buy expensive Amway tools? I s- all of these videos kind of meld together for me now, but we saw a video where a husband and wife were talking about how they didn't buy anything unless it was with their Amway money. And so if they didn't make a lot in Amway that day, that month, that week, then they bought less food. They would not buy clothes when they would need to because they didn't have enough Amway money. It's crazy.
And then my hero walked on stage, Bill Brett. Man, just a walking, talking winner. Needless to say, when I walked out of that Coliseum and my dad says, son, this thing might be something okay for you to do. 24 years old, and I heard stuff that I never heard before. I loved hearing Lotta tonight speaking, and Conti, I love the.
I have a lot to say. It's so interesting when you think about someone's hero being an Amway distributor. I know everyone's different. Everyone's going to have a different kind. Like everyone may have a hero in like a different field, a different area, right? I'd say like the one person I could consider an actual hero is like one of the most well-known female hockey players, Hayley Wickenheiser, because I followed her career from the time I was tiny, like majority of my childhood and into my adulthood. She'd be the one person I consider an actual hero because she like broke a lot of barriers and boundaries for female hockey players, really made a name for herself, broke all the records in Olympics and World Women's Hockey Championships. But it's just the idea of an Amway distributor being your hero is very strange to me. Oh, Dakota's here. Hi, Dakota. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you're here. They say education doesn't matter at these conferences and information sessions, but then if you're not a teacher, lawyer, etc., they don't use you to connect with a new possible IBO. Double standards. Oh, that's such a good point. Love that. And hi, thank you for coming. I like it when you're here for the Amway ones. So yeah, Dakota, if you're comfortable, and Mark, if you're still here, feel free to share any of your knowledge or experiences with Amway. But if you don't want to, that's fine, of course. These are commercial cults. I can't speak. The level of indoctrination is mind-boggling. When they want you to go to a conference, it's to brainwash you even more, to hype you up so you continue in the MLM. Correct. That's all this is. That's okay, Dakota. And it's always fun to see you in the comments after the fact as well. Hello, Carol. Thank you for coming. It's so nice to see you. Amway is trouble. Yes, Mark. Completely agree.
That couple is so special. And she said, I just want to thank God. I just want to thank God. I want to just thank God for all that he's done for us and for our family. Isn't it great where you can be in a business and you can stand up and you can say, thank you, God, for what you've done for me. And you know, when I was 24 years old and came to that free.
If you're religious, you can thank God for your success and your family in any industry, in any job. It doesn't matter. You can thank God for everything if you're religious. It doesn't need to be an MLM. That's weird.
Enterprise Day, I was in law school and I was also in the MBA program at Chapel Hill, getting a double degree at the time, a business degree, and the banner said Free Enterprise Day, and I didn't even know what it meant. Isn't that amazing? Here I am, supposedly so educated and so smart, and they're talking free enterprise, and I'm in business school, and I don't even know what it means. And people stand up and do the pledge, and they put their hand over their heart, and I'm sitting there feeling a little funny and uncomfortable there because, you know, when you're in college and you're drinking and you're partying, it had been years since I had seen that. And you never see it at business. But I know that when I was early in the business at 24 and Bill did a meeting, he said, well, some of you, all the guys that stayed late, he always would talk late and talk, and everybody would go home except about 7 or 8 of us. He said, why don't you come by the house? At this point,
So this, I always forget their names. Leslie, or no, Paul. So Paul is highly educated. He had like MBA and something or other, degree in business, and he found legitimacy in the Amway business structure, and that is just going to make it seem more legitimate for people who are looking at the opportunity and say, look, this person is highly educated in business. And so if he says it's good, then it's good. I'm going to join. Also, he's kind of like talking about how brilliant his education is. And then in the same breath, putting it down at the same time and being like, I was a business student, but I didn't even know what free enterprise was. And so is higher education a good thing or a bad thing? We know in MLMs there is like the villainization of higher education because people will say college, university is the real scam. Kids are expected to know what they want to do for the rest of their life and then they go into debt. But then we know that even if you don't get a job that's directly connected to your education, there is value in a university or college degree or diploma. You do learn different kinds of skills. You do learn problem solving and like working as a team and writing, depending on what your program is. And those skills do have value in the labor force. Missed some comments. My hubby is a retired police officer. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so he was older than the other guys of the same profession, so he was never used. Interesting. Okay. So he was retired from the police force when you were recruited into Amway? Is that what you mean? Forgot to mention the religious manipulation. What happened if you are atheist? Yes, correct. I didn't even know that. I didn't even realize that. That's a fantastic point. Hey, it's Scamway. Yes, it is. Woohoo. Julie said she started waking up on time during a Monet conference when they started doing baptism in the middle of the conference. She was like, what the hell? She said that she did not sign up for that. Yeah, it's a workplace. And unless you work in a church or you work in a religious nonprofit that clearly states their religious affiliation in like the mission and the vision, then in my opinion, I don't think religion has a place so prominently in the workplace. That's just my opinion though. Someone saying hi. Our upline friends had a mechanic shop. He only had an 8th grade education. The head upline treated him like garbage because of that. The leader and his wife are hypocrites. So he had a mechanic shop. He had a car shop, whatever you call it, with not high education. And so you can do things without an education. And he had the what am I trying to say? He had the characteristics needed to go and open his own small business. So clearly there's intelligence. Clearly there's adaptability in that individual. That's a great point. Yeah, I wonder what they would tell you if you weren't religious. Would they refuse your membership? Probably not. Nah, Charlie, they'll just try to get you saved on the Sunday morning session during their conferences. It's hard to imagine them turning away money. True. In Dakota, you said yes to your husband being retired from the police force while you were in Amway. That makes sense. Yeah, so he was older than their intended target audience, right? Like they're going to talk a lot about the young men here, the young men whose brains are not fully developed, who don't really know who they are yet. And I always think people who are like 18 to 24, 25, that's a critical time when we're figuring out who we are. And it's so sad that young adults in that critical time are being preyed on by people like this. They stress because they're so Christian, like that's the whole purpose is to bring people to Jesus, but then the head uplines treat people really badly in front of others, very abusive. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's so abusive. Monica, it is cringe and 100% real. Okay, let's keep going. I'm loving this conversation. It's so fun.
Moved from the little house that I'd seen 3 years before to the nicest home in Chapel Hill. In fact, the nicest home in Orange County with this tremendous fireplace and wooden beams through the ceiling. It was a business, but see, Bill's always been more about you than just a business and becoming wealthy, because that's part of the plan. The other plan is doing the right thing with your life. That's why it's so incredible.
If Bill cared about you, he would make his Brit Worldwide products in support free. He would not be re-victimizing the already financially vulnerable people in his downline.
Having you here this weekend and seeing you young guys, and the comment was made, Generation Y, you young guys, Generation Y, y'all been slammed. You've been slammed. If you read the paper, they're putting you down. They're telling you you're not going to do it. You're not tough enough. You're too lazy. You're too this. You know what I'm excited about? I'm excited about that this weekend proves them all wrong. We got Generation Y in here, and we got the winners in here. You know, I didn't realize Conti was so smooth and debonair, writing 15-page love letters. You are one dude, I am telling you. And I mean every day.
I don't know who he's talking about. On the YouTube subtitles, it said cocky, but I think it's Cotti, like that's his last name. And he's writing 15-page love letters, I guess, to his partner. I do not know. And then he is saying Generation Y. I don't remember I don't know what year this is, but that kind of relates. I kind of relate to that because I've seen articles and stuff about like millennials are now lazy and are like expect things to be handed to them. And like I kind of relate to that in the sense because I've heard people say that about people of my generation, and like millennials aren't buying houses, millennials aren't getting married and having kids until a lot later because it is so expensive to live and to function nowadays. That's not the point of this though.
Because it's very obvious how much in love Conti and Lotta are. It's obvious how much they love their kids. Would you say it's obvious how much they love that grandson? And it's just awesome. All the guys are. We got an incredible group. Guess what? I'm in love too. I found her right here. You know, it's one thing to have a large income, which we're grateful and thank God for it. It's another thing to have that and have the most wonderful, supportive, encouraging, cheerleading, godly, wonderful, fun, enjoyable person in the entire world. I told her, I said, you know, today it was great listening to that young Miss America, but it is even greater to be married to Mrs. America. I'm going to tell you that right now. So I want y'all to listen to her. I love her. We have fun all the time. We travel around Raleigh. We play golf together. We take naps together. We do everything together. And I wouldn't have it any other way. My life is a dream now, but it's because she makes it a dream. She makes it a dream. So please listen to her. And we love you guys. We're so honored to be here with you. It's the best group of people in the world. Wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So here's Leslie. Okay, babe. There you go.
Is there in Amway, anyone who's been in there, like, was there any like putting up relationships of your uplines like on a pedestal? Like, would people look at Paul and Leslie and say, like, I want that, I want my marriage to be like their marriage. I want my husband to talk about me the way that Paul talks about Leslie. It's just interesting to hear also how they talk about Bill and Peggy Britt's relationship and how Bill and Peggy, they made their relationship better. And I'm just thinking, okay, are we also idolizing the relationships as well? And Paul saying, I'm so blessed and honored to be here with all of you amazing people. I highly doubt that you care. This is a paycheck for you. You need these people in your downline to stay in for as long as possible and to keep purchasing ToolScam products. I don't know if Paul and Leslie had their own ToolScam company though. Okay, I missed a bunch of comments. Okay. Why do all the speakers have a rags to riches story? I know why. It's also the evangelists. What they really are. They are narcissists. Yes, Dakota. Exactly. It's either rags to riches or riches to rags, then back to riches because of Amway. Correct. I hate they use their success stories to see, or their rags to riches stories to seem more approachable, right? I agree. That's the only reason. Look, I struggled. I was homeless. I couldn't pay my bills, and now look at me. Or I didn't even graduate high school, and now look at me. Now I am at the top of Amway. Yes, great point. Most drop out, Paul. Yes, most do. Paul's kind of right. I am lazy. I definitely have my lazy tendencies. The answer is yes, absolutely. I don't know what that's related to. Sorry, Melissa. I missed some comments. Well, because you're just nothing unless you're in, right? If you're not in Amway, then you are not as good of a person as you can be, right? They are gods. Take what you're thinking and make it even cultier, and that's how people in Amway look at the marriages of these people. Oh. And you don't actually know. Like, you don't actually know what the marriage is like backstage, like behind the scenes, because not every marriage is perfect, is sunshine and butterflies all the time. Everyone has problems. But when you put two people up on a pedestal, you're going to assume that they don't have any problems in their marriage, right? And her name is Amway. Naps, Paul, maybe you're lazy too. My hubby was hit by a speeding car on duty. He's alive, but the head upline was pissed because my hubby wouldn't tell him how much his pension was. We canceled with them on nothing. So your upline was pissed because your husband wouldn't tell them private financial information. That's crazy. I'm so sorry to hear that, and I'm so glad that your husband was okay and that he's alive now. That's so scary. That's why he was retired. He is more than okay. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Oh, these people are monsters, but you already know that. Yeah, that's terrible. And Dakota, was there any concern for the state of your husband at the time or for you? Like, was there any like, hey, let's cook you some meals. Hey, let's watch your kids. Hey, let's support you in some way, right? Oh, I'm so sorry. That's terrible. Okay, let's continue.
Yeah.
Well, hello. And again, welcome to the new people. For all of you let me hear one more time. The first function, this is your first function this weekend. All right.
Oh, Dakota, I'm so sorry that there wasn't actually any support and your upline was just, as you said, being a total a-hole instead of it being like treating you like how a friend would treat you during a hard time. I'm so sorry to hear that.
All right. Well, you will never forget this weekend. Sometimes no matter how hard you try, but you'll never forget this weekend. The very first function I went to was an FED in Greensboro. And I was 20 years old and just excited about what went on that weekend and the principles that I heard.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that. So many terrible stories related to Amway. It's just so sad.
And those principles are the same today as they were all those years ago. I'm going to tell you how many. Anyway, congratulations to the new pins. We're so excited for you guys. You know, that's what it's all about, just rising up above the rest of them and just stepping out and getting the job done. And congratulations to the new pins. And it was incredible to see the new diamonds and the new founders' diamonds, Vinny and Dana and Valari and Nadia, and the new double diamonds, Ganesh. It's exciting. And I can promise you that they thought about those 8 steps over there. They've listened to Rocky music and they visualized themselves up here. And I hope you're doing the same thing this weekend.
So interesting how much value is placed on these made up ranks. But if you go out into the world, then you're not going, like your double diamond or whatever the fuck in Amway isn't going to mean anything. But in Amway, in any MLM, it's everything. Like you have to get to these high ranks. And of course, all these people who got pins, so they just ranked up, they got there because they visualized. They visualized taking the steps across the stage with the fancy music, and that's how they got there. They made the choice, and you can too. All you have to do is decide, and then you'll be on stage getting your useless pin. For 5 years, the pandemic actually helped us leave. Half of it was through that. Oh, I'm glad there was like a silver lining through the pandemic. But I'm sorry all that happened, of course. Love bombing when getting in, of course. Total block and you don't exist attitude when you leave. Yes. You're all amazing, brilliant people, but then the moment you leave, they're not going to talk to you. That's the sad truth. Loving this conversation. So many awesome, insightful comments. This is great.
But thank you to Bill and Peggy. Wow. Thank you to Bill and Peggy for all your dreams. Thank you for your visions for the future. Thank you for the Brit system that holds it all together. You know, they are incredible. They are non-judging, always loving leaders who have helped us just develop a better life. And their legacy and their principle will affect generations for the better. And Miss America was incredible today. Oh my gosh.
So Bill and Peggy Britt, their attitude, their values, their legacy will continue to impact people for years and years and years in Amway. Why? They're just people who got in early, who built a huge team, who opened a massively successful Amway tool scam company. I want to try to emulate people who have contributed some value in the world, whether it be an athlete or a politician or an author or like someone who opened up their own charity or like your favorite teacher, your librarian, like someone who you think actually contributed something positive to the community. But Bill and Peggy Britt, rest in peace, Bill, rest in peace. But we know anyone in an MLM did not contribute positively to their community. If anything, they hurt it. I always wave around one hand and then I sit on my other hand. Okay. There's a platinum couple in our old group. They are still there buying half their 7,500 in PV, but they say, if you're not crying at conference, something is wrong with you. I never cried so hot. Not everyone's emotional, right? Not everyone's comfortable showing their emotions in public, and that's completely valid. We love Heather's tools. Thank you, Mark.
If she didn't, she just refreshed us. We spent so much, the ladies, the mock ladies, we spent so much time with her today, just talking to her and kidding around with her. And
yes, trauma sells in MLM, right? Like, in what other work environment are we going to be encouraged by our boss to tell them about our deepest, darkest secrets? Like, I think the most I've ever had with a boss would be like, hey, I've noticed you seem a little bit tired recently. Is there anything I can do to help? No, I'm good. Okay. And then that's that. They'll show their support, but then they're not going to pry. But in the MLM world, you are strongly encouraged to share your trauma, share your stories, share your experiences of stress and uncertainty and fear as soon as you get there, even if you're not ready, which could just cause more harm. In our old group, the head couple is still trying to go Ruby again. 28 years in. Our upline friends said they're just platinums. They can't quit because then they'd be their own losers and quitters. And Dakota, isn't Ruby not even that high in the ranks? I don't actually know the orders, but I feel like Ruby is Ruby below platinum or above platinum? I don't know.
dragging her for pictures and videos and all that good stuff, but for BWW, so you guys can see it on BWW. But I don't know. I walked away. You know, you look at the pageants and it's not about the outside, it's about the inside and all that.
Oh, Dakota, please talk as much as you want. As much as you want. I want to hear everything. And Ruby is above platinum. Okay, awesome. So they're talking about Miss America because one of the Amway brands, sponsored it. And she's just saying, with these pageants, it's not about the outside, it's about the inside. No, ma'am. It's about the outside, or else the women would not need to be in full faces of makeup, in tight dresses. Women could show up how they want. I could show up like this, and I would still have a good chance of winning. So it is about the outside, and you know that.
And we sat there and we watched the pageant this year because Artistry was sponsoring it. But just to spend time with her, she just really gave me a renewed spirit for the youth of today. Just to know that there are some out there, all you hear is the negative, but that there are some out there that are going to make a difference. And it was just refreshing to see her as an 18-year-old just to step up and step out and make a positive difference in America. And
so Miss America made a positive difference at only 18 years old, and they're gonna talk more about young people making positive differences. Ruby is above platinum. It's a rank right before emerald, which is right before diamond. My parents were emerald for a time in the early 2000s. So platinum, ruby, emerald, diamond. Okay, thank you. Awesome.
That's what this Coliseum is full of. All of you 18, 20-year-olds, you're here doing the same thing. And you will get your opportunity. Yes, thank you. Thank you. That's the legacy we want to see. We want to see you 20-year-olds take our place. We came in at 20. We want to see you say, okay, I'll rise up. I'll step out. I'll step up. I'll come up on that stage and you can hear my story. And we just thank you for being here this weekend when it might not be the cool thing to do with your friends, but thank you for being here this weekend. And Free Enterprise,
that's what Julie Anderson has said. Thank you for coming. Congratulations. You're taking your business seriously. You're so amazing. You're so brilliant. Also, so when I was 20, when I was 22, I didn't know who I was. I was a baby. I was figuring out what I liked, what I didn't like, what I wanted to do with my life. And I would have easily been sucked into something like this, where you see these two successful people who started the business when they were your age, when they were like just out of school or still in school, just like you, and they were able to make it work as a young adult. And you can do it too. You can do it too, even though you could end up wasting your 20s, wasting your early 30s, when you should be figuring out who you are, where maybe you meet your spouse, maybe you start to have children when you're in your 30s too, and you're just wasting so much time. You're wasting your time, your money, but you're also wasting the time in your 20s when you're just figuring stuff out. And then at least for a lot of people in their 30s, they start to get a little bit more settled and figure out put some roots down with a spouse and with kids maybe, right? And you're just wasting your time. You're wasting your time in this. If I'm remembering correctly, there's sapphire between platinum and ruby. Got you. There was a video I made on my channel a million years ago where it's how Savvy targets new graduates, and there was a young woman who's barely 22 talking about being in Savvy, and it just made me so sad because it's no, figure out what you want to do for your career. This is not a career. Please don't waste these precious years. Can't imagine being stuck trying to reach a rank, and even if you reach it, there's no guarantee you will keep the rank. It will be a matter of time before you lose said rank. Yes. Targeting the young. Yes, BB. Yes, you are correct. BB, I may have missed your comment at the very beginning. I think you said hi at the beginning and I didn't say hi to you back, and I'm sorry about that. Sorry if I missed you. And no matter what you achieve, it will never be enough. Yes, because you always have to get to the next milestone. You can never just be happy and content where you are, right? Does anyone remember how the Amway Achievers magazine has the trail of platinum, ruby, and on to triple something? Anyway, that made me exhausted because they say you're not done at diamond. No, you are never done in any MLM. You always have to push to the next milestone. What friends? They've ran away from being prospected. Yes. And someone in a recent video is saying if you prospect your friends, you're going to hurt your relationships. And that's totally true. My parents definitely lost friends because of Amway. We also had to leave our church because the pastors hated Amway and started preaching sermons about greed and money every Sunday. Oh, that just shows how these companies can hurt other areas of your life, right? That's so sad. They are never satisfied, correct? That's what a HUD upline said about our church, Melissa. I'm so glad I didn't run into them there. Oh, that's so sad. Oh, anyway, let's continue.
It is a celebration of our freedoms. It's the freedoms our founding fathers fought for. And yes, we need to make them proud too. And that's what drew me in that first function, was just the principles and the celebration of America. But it's had a new fiscal year, September 1st. Now, that was a month ago today. And I just want you to ask yourself, what have you done in your business in this past month? And I just encourage you to set your goals for the new fiscal year. You've got 11 months to make a difference in your business. And you can be on this stage next to FED as a new pin. But it's going to be up to you what that pin will be. Will it be a platinum or an emerald? Will you be up here like those Taproot success stories showed you today? Or will you be a new diamond like you saw tonight? And I just encourage you to be what I'll call a person of purpose.
So, what have you done in the last year to move your business forward? I bet if you told her what you did to move your business forward, it is never going to be enough. There's always more personal development you could do. There's always more Amway Tool Scam products you can buy. There's always another event you can go to. It's never enough. You are never doing enough. Also, next year, you can also get up there and have your pins. And it's up to you to decide what pin you get. If you want to be a diamond, all you have to do is just believe that you're a diamond. Follow the Brit system. I don't remember what it's called. I was going to do a video on it, and then I couldn't find enough information on it. It's like something BIB or whatever. Mark, if you're here, you might know. Follow the Brit system, and then you can be diamond just because you want to be diamond, right?
And to strive for your dreams and goals. You know, do you want the lifestyle and the successes you've seen this weekend, that you've seen in the videos, that you've heard people speak about? Then go out and work for it. Lose sleep for it. Skip a few meals for it. Miss some functions with your friends for it. Put some miles on your car. You know, if you want the success
of the people you've seen on stage in the videos, then skip some meals. Skip meals. Miss outings with your friends. Put a shit ton of miles on your car going across your state, all around your state and all around the country to go to these dumbass events. In what world, why do we need to skip meals to have success in our business? If we're at a business event, we should be able to eat some food. We should be able to leave and go get some food and come back. That's just outrageous to me. We should not be sacrificing meeting our basic human needs, our basic human needs for food to have success in Amway. I forgot a long time ago, Paul said that people who stayed late at Bill Britt's events, they were invited back to his house. In our How to Go Platinum video, Doug and Jake said that a lot of people would hang out late and would ask him questions. And those were the people that would go platinum the quickest, the ones who would stay late in their like midnight meetings and ask all the questions and follow their upline around at all the events they were at. I seriously wish I would have researched before we got in, but they encouraged us not to. Our friends were upline. They were later hurt. They got out too. The husband said this was becoming a job. Yeah, hindsight 2020, but yeah, like they do tell you not to research because they don't want you to see the negative press on Amway, and it's not your fault. It's no one's fault because everyone is manipulated and tricked into joining these companies. At the end of the day, it's about your money. Yeah, transactional friendships. I also did not have YouTube yet, and no one was really doing these videos yet until 2019. I think at least what I saw, yeah. There's not as much information out there now. And now there's so many different kinds of data you can find on all MLMs, not just Amway. And I think it would be easier now if someone was doing research to easily find information about these companies. Great point. They talk all about freedom and entrepreneurship and the American dream and blah, blah, blah. You are in an MLM. Calm down. This got to be one of the most ridiculous things I ever heard. Skip meals part. Yeah, I'm not skipping meals. I am not missing time with my friends and my spouse. If I had a job where I could never watch NHL hockey ever again, I wouldn't do it because it's important to me that my spouse and I watch hockey together. So important. I literally wrote it into my wedding vows. I wrote it into the wedding vows, and it's important. And if they said you got to miss all these hockey games, I'd be like, no, fuck you. I'm quitting. the time freedom, but when you want to exercise the supposed time freedom, you get a mouthful from your upline. So you're not working hard enough. Don't take a break. Work in the pockets of time. Yes, that's not time freedom, Karen. We lost our family over petty stuff on their part. They were hurt at the church where hubby worked, so all that made us vulnerable. They acted like they truly cared. Aw, I'm sorry to hear that. That's so sad. Totally not a cult. Yes. Right?
That someone else has, then you need to work like they did to achieve it. And that's the great thing about this business and this Brit system is no one is going to hand it to you because you deserve it or because it's the fair thing to do. You are going to work for it to come across the stage, and you will be better off because of it. And if you want to be successful, then surround yourself with success. You know, you heard today, put others before you. And Miss America said it so beautifully today. It's not lowering yourself to serve others. It's thinking of others first. You know, you don't put yourself below others. You put others before you. And the true road to success is not stepping over others. It's serving others.
Bullshit. I call bullshit. You are not in Amway because you want to serve people. You're in Amway because you were lucky enough to get in first, to get in early. You realized how you make your money. You realize how you get rich. That's what happened. It's not about serving others. It's literally about stepping over others. It's literally about stepping over others and hurting others in order for you to have money. Right? It's all over the net, folks. What do you mean? I don't understand. So you are a salesperson, an independent contractor. Relax. Right? They're never going to be free because they're doing this biz 7 days a week. Yes, where's the time freedom? But are Paul and Leslie doing the business 7 days a week? Or like, is you like your average Amway distributor doing it 7 days a week? I feel like these two probably wouldn't be. What does time freedom really mean? If you have free time, you should be working your business. Time freedom should mean you can spend your time the way you want. For me, I don't have full time freedom because I have to work like 8 hours a day, but I have time freedom in the sense that when I'm done work, I can do whatever I want, right? Oh my goodness, all these comments. Hi. Oh. Hi, Julie. Thank you for joining. I just noticed you now. My job pays me to take self-development courses and encourages us to take care of our mental health. Key point, they pay me. Exactly. Perfect point. Why doesn't Amway utilize social media? The anti-MLMers. I get confused when I don't see these comments right away and then I don't know what they're referred to. I think they're not allowed to. I think it's written into their agreement that they can be terminated if they use social media. Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. It just took a while to figure it out. I think Hubby just wanted to make sure if anything happened, we'd be taken care of. I like people, but not all the stuff you had to do. Yeah, like the dream that they sell is really like appealing, right? Like a lot of people worry about retirement, about taking care of their spouse and their kids and meeting their own needs. And like, oh, you don't have to work that much and you can take care of all your needs and you'll be financially comfortable and financially free. And I can understand why people would find that appealing. And I would have been the perfect MLM victim at so many different parts of my life, not just when I was a kid, not just as a young adult, but semi recently when I moved here, knowing no one, I would have been a good victim, I think for sure. What Hershey is this being paid to? Oh, I read that as Hershey. Being paid to do a job and take care of yourself. Not both. Oh, I get confused. Sorry, I don't know what the both is referring to. Good question, Charlie. I think it has to do with information control. They want to keep everything within the group. Exactly. I'm glad I can clock in and out of work and enjoy my time, like being here with you guys. Aw. And Melissa, you might be gone now, but thank you for joining. I'm trying to wave at you. Bye. Have a good dinner. Yes, time freedom, right? When we had the chat, the head upline is up sending texts, making calls, meetings registration. So I didn't see them take 2 days off of this. Wow. And what rank were your head uplines again? I don't remember. I know you said this before. Sorry.
And you can teach people in your organization all day long, and people can hear what's in your head when you interact with them. But when they hear what's in your heart, that's when you'll have your true success. So I encourage you to define your goals, get an agreement with your spouse. Ladies, join arms with your husband. Support him, encourage him, help him. It's not his business, it's your business together. Stay locked in step with him, because as you know, husbands will build it with you. They'll build it without you. Some will have to build it in spite of you, but he'll always build it for you. So stay in agreement with your goals and dreams and be unified. Be teammates, because if you don't, whatever success you achieve will be short-lived unless you're unified. So get to work and use this new fiscal year to achieve greatness in your business so that you can turn your mess into a message and tell your story next FED, because we want to hear your story. This is an incredible.
So that's all. That's the only part I wanted to read or to watch. I'll have to catch a replay. DC, if you're still here, hello. Thank you for stopping by. And I appreciate you catching the replay. That's really nice of you. Really appreciate it. Thank you. And everyone go subscribe to DC right away. She is my favorite YouTuber, anti-MLM YouTuber. Fantastic, fantastic content. So go subscribe to her, please, right now, if you want to. No pressure. So I think Melissa talked about gender roles in Amway. You can see my husband's bike behind me there. See? Part of it. Gender roles within Amway. And the women, like what, I always forget her name. Leslie said, you have to be supportive of your husband. You have to walk in something, like walk at the same pace, walk hand in hand. It's not just your business, their business, it's also yours. So it's our job to be supportive, to be caring, to be patient with our husbands, to help them build the business, despite the fact that we just might not want to build an Amway business. We might not want our husband to be an Amway, but of course we just have to be agreeable people, and we just have to fall behind our spouse, fall behind our husband. And I've learned in these streams that the figurehead, the big person in Amway, is usually the man, and then the female is behind the man, is the supporter to the man. And I don't like that. I don't like that there's an expectation of the women to be supportive. And I don't like, this is a societal issue. It's not just an Amway issue. I don't like the assumption that every single couple in Amway is a heterosexual cisgendered couple as well, because like there could be two females, there could be two males, there could be two people who don't identify as cisgendered, and there is just no talk of diversity in relationships in MLMs and in society in general. So I don't fault Amway, I don't fault these people, but that is a really big issue, and I don't like it. I don't like the females assuming traditional gender roles, and I don't like the assumption that all relationships are heterosexual and everyone in the relationships is cisgendered. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? That was a bit of a ramble. Okay. I'm hungry. They have to keep working. Most likely, most will leave. They act like diamonds. They were supposed to go ruby again, but our upline friend said they're still platinum. He flaunts cars, his house, a farm like he is diamond. Oh, that's so sad. It's a revolving door. Yes. DC is really good. She's brilliant. She's fantastic. So yeah, go subscribe to DC, please. I see it. DC shows too. So good. Oh, I'm glad you like DC, Dakota. That's awesome. The stress of being constantly on the hamster wheel would totally do me in. Same here. Be the little lady, right, Leslie? Yes. Smile and be pretty. My mama didn't raise me like that. And there's nothing wrong with supporting your spouse. Like, that's a wonderful thing. But what if you don't want to? What if you are worried about what they're doing? What if it goes against your morals and your ethics? You shouldn't be told just to be supportive automatically. You should be able to think critically about whether you want to provide the support and then go from there, right? Totally agree. Thank you, BB. Have a good night and have a good dinner. Oh, thank you. I'm so hungry now. This went a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Why do they feel the need to flaunt? It's so cringe. Real people do not go thank their job today. I bought groceries. So weird. Good point. I'm not like, oh my God, my job paid for our apartment. No, like no one says that in real life, right? Yeah. So that's all I have for today. I really enjoyed that. It was fun talking about Paul and Leslie Miller and watching the first part of this video. On Sunday, I'm going to go into like 14 minutes and 56 seconds on. It's going to be a longer video because this is a long one, but I'm excited to finish this speech. I hope you all liked it. I hope we learned something new about Amway, about Paul and Leslie Miller. And yeah. I thought it was a lot of fun. So thank you to everyone. Oh, thank you, Live Panic. That would be scandalous. See you Sunday. Bye, Monica. I'm just going to read Dakota's thing here. I remember at one info session, the head loser told my hubby I should get a job so I could see how awesome it would be to get free. I was so pissed when my hubby told me this. I have had jobs. That's so rude. I'm so sorry. I'm focusing on health right now. Good job, Dakota. Good job. You're welcome, Lisa. You're welcome, Gary. You're welcome, Dakota. It was so nice to have you here. Thank you for sharing your experiences. And bye, BB. Thank you for joining. So I'm going to end here. Thank you, guys. And I hope you have a good weekend. And I'll see you on Sunday. Bye.